Hello, everyone. X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And now's a good time to wake our friends and relatives up from imbecilism or Jehovah's Witness cultism because now they're not going to the hall, right? So right now, I feel somewhat safe as far as my relatives and friends because what happens if a pioneer who spent their whole life knocking on people's doors with magazines, who probably gave up on who knows how many jobs to find one where they can knock on doors with magazines for Watchtower. And then they come to find out that it's all a lie. I've always been worried about a Kingdom Hall shooting where somebody gets depressed when they find out that they have given up on marriages, they've given up on having kids, they've given up a career so that they can go knock on doors and pass out magazines for a living. When they find out that this is all a lie, I was seriously concerned about a hall shooting, that they're going to try to take themselves out and take other people out with them. And Jehovah's Witnesses are sitting ducks in them Kingdom Halls. So they're small buildings. There ain't no place to go if somebody opens up shooting in there, right? So right now, they're not in that situation. Right now, if a relative or a friend wakes up, there's just no way that we have to worry about somebody lashing out and there being a hall shooting or something like that, or shooting at an assembly hall or anything like that. Right now, to me, is a good time to wake people up. And I've sent messages to people to try to help make them think, right? But Jehovah's Witnesses are a member of Imbeciles Are Us. I mean, it's virtually impossible to get them to think critically, but it's a good time now to start trying, right? It's a possibility that, let's say they do go back to the hall, which I'm starting to think that they will. I'm starting to think that they will go back to the hall just because I think that's what Watchtower is telling people. Now, Watchtower mess around and lie to them again and sell all the halls and say, hey, we're just doing this on the internet. And they still stay, okay, well then yeah, you're just an imbecile through and through, right? Just through and through. Like there's no brain activity at all there for us to work with to try to get them to wake up and stop trusting everything Watchtower tells them. If Watchtower does decide, hey, let's bring everybody back to the hall, which I think that they will. Right now, I don't think that they're doing it because of COVID, and let's avoid any kind of lawsuits where we done sent somebody out and somebody catches COVID and says it's because of us, right? But Jehovah's Witnesses are going to think, well, they shut down the entire door-to-door work where we're supposedly doing this important work to warn everybody of Armageddon because Watchtower loves everybody. That makes no sense. If they love everybody, they are going to want you to go door to door and warn everybody of Armageddon. Because if you were to go, according to Jehovah's Witness theology, if you go door to door and you catch COVID and die because you're preaching door to door, you're guaranteed a trip to the paradise, right? That's their theology. You are guaranteed a trip to the paradise. You die going door to door. Oh yeah, you got a free trip to the paradise. Bam, you're there. What do you mean the governing bodies stop door to door work because they love people if they were supposed to be warning them about Armageddon? More people will die because of Armageddon than COVID, right? So then the concept that the governing body just loves everybody, that's why they stopped preaching about a apocalyptic end of the world, and no, writing a letter ain't sufficient. Writing a letter to some random person's house and think that that's preaching, no, it's not. So now is a good time to wake people up, because, man, right now we do not have to worry about our relatives getting shot up in some Kingdom Hall shooting once somebody figures out, hey, this is all a lie, and it's only a matter of time before they do, because this whole thing is collapsing here. And who knows what they're going to do after that, because it's the human brain finding out that 90% of the information it's running on is a lie is probably not going to go over well with the person's psyche, right? So right now, I'm trying to wake relatives up, because right now, I ain't got to worry about that result. Right now, if somebody wakes up, there ain't nobody in the hall to shoot up. I don't have to worry about hall shootings and one of my friends or relatives coming up hurt because of it. Another reason is because of the kids. I told you before, there's Jehovah's Witnesses that believe the governing body just loves everybody, and that's the reason why they stopped people from going door to door. It had nothing to do with lawsuits, liability, nothing. It's just because they just love everybody. This is the problem, because that's the way Jehovah's Witnesses think. They think everybody in that building, not just governing body, elders, servants, pioneers, just people who are Jehovah's Witnesses in general, are just good. That they just love everybody. Everything they do because they just love everybody. And because Jehovah's Witnesses think other Jehovah's Witnesses just love everybody, that's why their kids are in danger. Because they will send their kids, I'm not joking, a Jehovah's Witness will send their kids over anybody's house. I can attest to that from personal experience. Growing up as a kid, oh man, I have been over so many people's houses. I can't count how many people's houses I got sent over to go spend the night, because my parents trusted anybody in that freaking religion. I can't count how many people's houses I was sent over to spend the night there. I mean, I can't count how many people whose parents were questionable. Like, you got a guy who's obviously homosexual, and it's not that there's anything specifically against them at all, but you got somebody whose parent is kind of known for trying to mentor young men, and he's obviously, he's been caught having sex with somebody in the park and all kinds of stuff. Another guy in the park. These are the people whose houses kids are getting sent over. The reason why is because now is just a good time to stop all of this. Now is a good time to stop all of this. We don't have to worry about a hall shooting. We still have to worry about, even with COVID, somebody saying, hey, I know you guys have been going through a hard time. Let me take your kids for you. And they'll say yes. A Jehovah's Witness will say yes. Most of them will say yes. The only people I know of that are like, oh, heck no, I'm not sending my kid with you, are the people who are somewhat critical thinkers who aren't fully in it. They're not fully in it. They're the ones who are on the verge of waking up. But the vast majority of people in that religion, I can tell you for a fact, my parents sent me off with people who didn't have kids to take me here, to take me there. If those people who were taking me places when I was a kid that weren't related to me, that just were at the same, that just went to the Kingdom Hall. The only reason why they sent me with them, because they went to the Kingdom Hall. If they just meant well, okay, well, that's great. But yet and still, that should not happen. Where a child is just sent with whoever is a member of a church, whoever is a member of Jehovah's Witness religion. Multiple times when I was younger, I was introduced to sexual stuff. Most of the time, it was one of the kids whose house I was sent over. There was a guy's house that I was sent over, and we didn't know him that well. They just, their parent was a Jehovah's Witness, so I'm over their house and I end up spending the night. I don't remember him to this day because we just didn't know him that well. It's just one of the many Jehovah's Witnesses houses I got sent over. It was nighttime. I was sleeping at the top bunk. He was at the bottom, and he's talking about, so what you want to do? And I'm thinking, there ain't much to do. You know what I mean? Your mom told us to go to bed. We can't go outside. It's nighttime. There ain't nothing to do. And he was like, you want to, and I kid you not, he was like, you want to do the oochie coochie? And I'm like, the what? He said, where you lay down and I get on top of you and go, ooh, ah, or something like that. And I was like, heck no, I don't want to do that. And he was like, oh. And he's like, you want to just lay in my bunk and go to sleep that way? Because I'm at the top. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good here. And it's like, as a kid, it don't fully register with you what's going on. You just, as a kid, it didn't even register to me that was that bad. It was just, ugh. Nah, I ain't doing no oochie coochie with no guy. Like, what the heck? It wasn't even registering to me that was that bad. It was that time that happened, and it was another time where I was over somebody's house, and their house had mice everywhere, and it was just routine that they see a mouse, they get the cat, put the cat in the room with the mouse, close the door, and don't let the cat out till the mouse is dead. This was kind of like in the hood over the house that they had sent me over that time. I'm laying in the bed because it's nighttime, about time to go to sleep, and I'm spending the night over somebody else's house. And the kid whose house I was over was laying on the floor next to the big cat that they were sending after mice. And he's playing with the cat, and I'm just laying there. And he didn't call it. He flat out put it out there. Hey, you want to do such and such? And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm guessing I was probably like around 8-ish. I'm thinking around 8, 9, somewhere around there when all this was going on. And I could go through story after story after story of me being sent with somebody and something not going over quite right. Like, I was sent with an adult, and this adult, I don't know what spiel he told my parents to get them to let me go with him. But I had this sports, like a starter jacket. Back then, the starter jackets were popular, and he kept trying to get me to take it off for some reason. He kept trying to get me to take stuff off for some reason, and I just never did. I just wouldn't take stuff off. I wasn't thinking as a kid that he's wanting to get a better look at me or whatever, but I just wouldn't take my starter jacket off and my stuff off. I just wouldn't take my stuff off. And that was when we were in the car, and then we went out to go do whatever we were doing, to whatever event and whatnot. But then we went back in the car. I just would never take my stuff off. But I wasn't thinking there might be an alternative reason as to why this grown man is trying to get me to take my stuff off. I'm telling you, I've got a bazillion situations because I was, as a kid, sent over a bazillion Jehovah's Witnesses houses. There was a time when my parents were over the house that I was at, and the guy kept trying to get me to go to a different room where my parents weren't. And eventually it worked. He told me he wanted to show me something, and I went with him to another room. And what he wanted to show me was a picture on the wall. Look at this picture. And the dude, I kid you not, grabbed my ear. His lips he came to me like he's telling me a secret or something. Lips are up against my ear, talking, pulling my ear close. And I remember one of my parents came in the room, and that's when he stopped. And that's like, this is a good time to stop this stuff. We wait for them to go back to the hall, and then it's just open season on kids. I kid you not, any Jehovah Witness got access to anybody else's kids unless they mostly waking up, and that's a small percentage of them. That's a small percentage of them. Unless one of the parents, there were some kids that I remember being put in some interesting situations, but one parent was a Jehovah's Witness and one wasn't. The dad wasn't. And the dad who wasn't was not going for none of this stuff with these people trying to be getting access to his kids. He wasn't going for it. I'm trying to tell you, there's a lot of situations where both parents are Jehovah's Witnesses, and pedophiles have got free reign at these kids unlike any other church or place on the planet. Just like Jehovah's Witnesses believe, the governing body stopped people from going door to door and all this stuff because of COVID, and they just love everybody. They believe that about every Jehovah's Witness, that they just love everybody. Hey, I can watch your kids. Sure. Meanwhile, this guy don't even have kids, right? Why is this old guy wanting to watch your kids and he don't have kids? One of my relatives had that happen, and they sent their kids over there. They sent them over. Just some old guy that offered to watch the kids. Why did they just send? Because he's Jehovah's Witness, and they just believe Jehovah's Witness is just all good. There is a pedophile's paradise over there. I don't even want to get into all the other situations where I was over somebody's house and stuff odd happened, or stuff was presented as an option for me to do. Sexual stuff was presented as an option, and I just said no. Now is a good time, because if you wait and your relatives go back to the hall, which I think that that's what they're telling them that they're going to do, then we got to go back to being worried about somebody's going to wake up one day, have given up their whole life for this religion, and they open fire and shoot up the whole hall, including themselves. Then we got to go back to worrying about that. If we don't jump on this opportunity now to try to wake up our friends and family from this imbecilic cult, I'm making up words here, then your relatives, your nieces, your nephews, then they're all open to the pedophiles. All of them are open to the pedophiles, because Jehovah's Witness relatives are going to send their kids wherever anybody asks for them. All you got to do is ask for them as Jehovah's Witness. I remember going to halls, and there were those people who never did nothing but sit and hug everybody's kids. I'm talking about after the meeting. After the meeting at the Kingdom Hall, I remember you had odd-looking grown men that were gravitated more towards the kids than they did the adults. And they would just walk around talking to little kids, trying to pull them over close to them, hugging on the little kids. And because of the Jehovah's Witness belief that all Jehovah's Witnesses are good, they're not disfellowshipped, they're good, they can't be doing anything wrong, they're God's chosen people, they all love everybody, they're just standing there watching the guy do it. They were all just standing there. Just this stuff went on at halls that had kids. You always had some, well, I won't say always, but it was pretty often that I saw that there was somebody, a grown adult, doing things that would have been looked at as odd at any other church in the world, because at any other church in the world, people have at least some sense. They don't teach that everybody in the church is good. So yeah, watch your kids. I'm talking oddball looking guys that just flat, if there was a look of a pedophile, that's what they had. And they're off hugging kids and walking around with the kids and talking to the kids that ain't theirs. Now's a good time to stop all this. So yes, we have to worry about the shunning, but at some point it's like, man, forget the shunning. We gotta save the kids. We gotta think about the possibilities here when, Pioneer or somebody wakes up and they done wasted their whole life and what they might do, and all those people are packed into these kingdom halls like sardines. If somebody starts shooting, they're all gone. Like, we have to think about, weigh the options. Okay, I could just leave my relatives alone, and next thing you know, one of your nieces or nephews get molested by a Jehovah's Witness, because it's so easy for it to happen, and then their psyche is just messed up the rest of their life. Or one of their parents just send them off to Bethel, right? They just trust Watchtower with their kids. Just send them off to Bethel and just trust that everything's going to go well. And something could happen there. Like, I think now is a good time to send information to our relatives to try to wake them up before they go back into the hall, and then we have to worry about somebody shooting it up, or we more so have to worry about the pedophiles. Because people have lit halls on fire, people have shot at halls from the outside, but we hadn't had a bunch of shootings like we've had a whole bunch of pedophiles running loose with these kids, because Jehovah's Witness parents will let them go with whoever's a Jehovah's Witness. If they want to work with them in service, they'll let them go with them. It's just too easy. It's too easy. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think now's a good time to just all stop, try to wake these people up now, before Watchtower has them going back into these kingdom halls, or before Mr. and Mrs. Jehovah's Witness, they just love everybody. Jehovah's Witnesses just love everybody, start sending their kids off to whoever's house and get molested? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. X Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.